Going to go through this question in two very different ways. But first of all, let's get a sketch down. We've got a circle, two tangents to the circle pass through the point 0, 1. We're given that the scales on the x and y axes are the same. So it's not like the x-axis is going up in fives. It's not like it's, this is 5, 10. This is only going up by 1 for every little bar. They're going to be the same because that's going to affect the angle ultimately. Okay, before I draw my sketch, let's get the center and the radius of the circle. So I can complete the square on x. I'm going to get x minus 3 all squared minus 9. That'll give me x squared minus 6x. And then y minus 2 all squared minus 4 plus 12 is 0. I'm getting it in the form x minus a squared plus y minus b squared is equal to r squared. So I'm going to get 1 on the right-hand side, a center of 3, 2, and a radius of 1. So we're only looking in the first quadrant here. Okay, center of 3, 2, a radius of 1, so it's going to look a little bit like that. Okay, I'll just draw some grid lines on. Let's get the tangents on. So it's from 0, 1. Actually, this one's just going to be a horizontal line. I might just draw it a little bit below. And then another one like that. Okay, good. Good little setup here. So this point is 3, 2. This bottom point is then actually going to be 3, 1. And I could work out the other corners. I don't need to do that. What I'm interested in is this angle here. Okay, so the approach that I took was to realize that we can, from the tangent, we can draw a line where it touches the circle. We can draw a line to the center, and this will necessarily be a right angle because the tangent meets the radius at a right angle. We can do the same down here. These two are the same length, and the tangents up to here are the same length as well. So if you go from a point to the circle, it will necessarily be the same length. You can prove that the two triangles that we make are congruent. Let me make the triangle by going from the center to here. Because, I mean, actually it's RHS congruent rule because we've got 90 degrees in both. We've got equal side, the radius, we've got a shared hypotenuse. It must therefore be that this is the same as this. So that means I'm just going to look at I want to find the angle. I can just work out this angle and then double it. So this length is 1. Remember, I've got 0, 1 here, so I can work out the green length. And in fact, let me take the bottom triangle and I'll just sketch it out over here. So 1, this is my angle theta that I'm trying to find. We're going to then double it. And the hypotenuse is going to be 3 squared plus 1 squared square rooted. Because the difference between 0 and 3 is 3. Difference between 1 and 2 is 1. It's going to be root 10. So that longest, the side here is going to be root 10. I've got my opposite, my hypotenuse. So sine theta is 1 over root 10. And therefore we can do inverse sine. So the angle between the tangents is going to be inverse sine of 1 over root 10 to find theta, and I just then need to double it. So 36.869, which becomes 36.9 degrees. So just to recap, we found the center and radius of the circle by completing the square. We sketched it out. We drew the two tangents in. It's just a sketch, but actually I tried to draw it accurately. So we had a horizontal line going from 0, 1 through the bottom of the circle, then 1 at a diagonal. We realized if we draw the radius from where the tangents touch the circle to the center, then we're going to create a kite because we've got two lengths equal here, and then the two green lengths that I outlined the same as well. I split it up into two triangles, I worked out the hypotenuse, and then I've got two sides. I could work out the angle and double it. Brilliant. Here's the second approach, very, very different. Method 2. So actually in this approach, you're going to work out the equations of the tangents. They must be y equals mx plus 1. The y-intercept is 1 here. We can then substitute that into our equation of our circle. I'm going to sub it into the one where I have written it like as x minus 3 all squared and so on. Could put it back into the original if you prefer. So that means x minus 3 all squared plus mx minus 2 plus 1. That's going to be minus 1 squared is equal to 1. And we've got a quadratic to solve. This is a little bit more complicated, I think, but it's good to look at alternative methods. Okay, that looks good. I can actually cancel out those ones. Now I've got x squared and m squared x squared, so I can write m squared plus 1 x squared. I've got minus 6x and minus 2mx, so I can write minus 6 plus 2m, lots of x, and I've got a plus 9. Okay, so why have we done all this? We can't solve this directly because we don't know what m is, we don't know what x is, but we know it's a tangent. And that means that the discriminant for this equation is going to equal 0. There's only one solution for each value of m. Therefore, 6 plus 2m all squared minus 4 times m squared plus 1 times 9 equals 0. I'm going to factorize the 2 out here and then square them separately. The reason being that I can now just divide through by 4. Now I expand it, so I get m squared plus 6m plus 9 minus 9m squared minus 9 equals 0. I just want to say we actually know that m equals 0 is going to be a solution because we've got a horizontal line, but we want to get the other one. So 6m minus 8m squared equals 0. Divide through by 2. Factorize out m. M is going to equal 0 or 3 over 4. Okay, brilliant. We've just worked out the gradients of the two tangents. Now if I just therefore draw this triangle away from it a little bit, so up here, I've got a horizontal line and I've got this one with a gradient of 3 over 4. So that means I would go along 4 and up 3. I can just, it's going to be some multiple of this as I create it. And that is enough then to find the angle. Just the angle by itself, it's actually going to just be tan theta is 3 over 4. So theta is inverse tan 3 over 4. So whilst this was a bit more complicated, it's such a nice answer. Like no surge, don't have to double it or anything. We will get exactly the same thing, that 36.9. So yeah, appreciate both methods here. I think the first method is a little bit simpler to get your head around and apply, but the second method has its merits too for sure. Well done on this question and on these pure questions in general.